said he would. Anthony said he would start the recording, and there it was, like radar. It just shows up when he's needed. So.
You already got it wrong, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I want to welcome everybody to the April Peak Radio Association meeting. This is Paul N0 VLR. I should probably put that in my in my name here because I have just Paul, no longer from PA, but for those who don't know me, there it is. So first of all, before we start the meeting, I want to thank my heartfelt thanks goes out to Anthony for picking up the gavel from me a few years ago. It's been about 4 actually ish and change where he accepted the shotgun wedding nomination to be chair of the board, and I'm sure he's left it in great shape even through COVID, and I can still see we have a great team here, and there's others that can't make the meeting for whatever reason. So I hope to serve everybody well. My email is either my call sign at arrl.net, or you can reach me at my first name last name at Outlook. And I'm also on the Reflector, although that's not working for me really well right now. I have an issue with Gmail, but I'll fix that. But I do want to say thank you to Anthony for for the many years of service, and I know you're getting real busy with family business there, Anthony, and need to step aside, but still have the passion for the hobby, and I do appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've got a very unofficial looking agenda that I've scribbled down here that looks and smells a lot like the one we've been using. And I've got some new items to bring up during this time, and I'd like your feedback. So why don't we start with Secretary's report. Is Andy? I don't think Andy's here. Did he send you anything, Anthony?
I believe so. Let me.
Andy's the treasurer.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry,
Yeah.
I got that wrong.
We did get an email from Andy.
Okay, so Ted, you go first. Secretary's report, treasurer's report. I had the names next to them wrong. My apologies.
Not a problem. I have a hard time remembering mine half the time. So I did send out the minutes from last meeting that I was able to get the YouTube link from Anthony. Thank you very much. And watched the last meeting and sent those minutes out. I did get some feedback back. I had misspelled Mike's last name. My apologies. I was once told by a HR person, the most beautiful sound in the world is the sound of your own name. So that has been fixed. If there's any questions, other updates, modifications, or additions or deletions, please let me know. W7RTM@ARRL.net. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ted. We'll give a quick 10 seconds to see if anybody has any other corrections other than I think I called out Mike's name and just there's a couple of small little things that were on there I just happened to notice. But any other corrections, let Ted know. Otherwise, just send him an email. Okay, hearing none, we'll move forward. I think we probably vote to accept the minutes as amended. How's that? All right. And Anthony, you're gonna stand in for Andy for his report?
I can, yeah. So as of Friday the 15th, in checking, there was $2,170.10. Savings had $2,481.44. There was $36.24 in petty cash for a total asset of $4,891.81. So we had a $200 check for updating or renewing our club liability policy. And then a check for $312 was sent to the city for field day. The check for the insurance has cleared. The check to the city has not. So look for the balance to drop about $300 next month.
Okay, great. And while we're going through other things, Anthony, if I could just trouble you to double check that addition, because the three, I'm just looking at the cents, not the dollars, and it adds up to something other than 81. So just check the whole thing if you could, just double check with a calculator. The balance
Yeah.
sounds right, but somehow the digits, at least two of the digits didn't add up. Just to be careful, just to check. Okay.
Looks like it should be.
Could be a rounding error too, and that's fine.
Yeah, so I get $4,687.78.
Yeah, so why don't we just check on that, make sure he didn't forget to list something that makes it 48.91. There might be an item missing or
I think
something.
part of that was would have been the check for the insurance that may not have been
Oh, I see.
in that.
I see. Okay. It hasn't cleared yet. That's why. That makes sense.
Either that or timing wise, that might have been the balance as of the start of the month, not the.
Okay.
But
okay.
If there's a
Well,
rounding error, you can send me half the penny. I'm happy to do that as a service.
Is there any limit to how many we can send you, Anna? I mean, or should we just send you unlimited amounts?
Just send me a consolidated check
Okay.
of all the half pennies added together. It'll be great.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm surprised no one thought of that before. If those of you who remember the counting way back in the early 80s. Okay, thank you, Anthony, for that. So next up, we have a repeater report or update. I'm not sure if anybody stands in Chris's position when we report on that, but do we have any updates on that?
I have not seen any updates. Looks like the last post on the repeater page was from February 20th, where he had updated Klein Butte had moved to PL 123. So particularly those of us going out for 7QP, adjust your programming as necessary. And then King Mountain failed due to a microwave link from Eugene, and it's a high priority for fixing. But that was last updated in end of February. So don't see anything else.
Okay, great. Well, I think the thing that we could note here is if anybody's interested, I think Chris has been fairly open with sharing his Facebook group on the repeater page. So if you're interested, especially if you're going to be using those outlying areas, ask to join that group. I have since dropped it since I was out of the area. I didn't need to see any updates. So I will try to make a recollection to join that back. Okay. Any other topics around repeaters before we move on? Okay. As we used to say, when the repeater group or the repeater owner from my group in Washington, I'm sorry, Pennsylvania used to say, the repeaters are repeating. Any questions? And so, so we'll move forward. Okay. So we'll move on to old business. Any old business or past events? And what I think I'd like to do, since we've already been mentioning I'm not sure where field day comes in because we've already been mentioning it, but it is an upcoming event. So we'll have its own category, Bill. Is that okay?
Fine.
Okay. So any old business or old events, any ham fests that people have attended or anything interesting that they want to bring up and move it forward?
I don't know if I talked last month about Hamcation. I was out at Hamcation in February. Turnout on Friday was okay. It was a little bit more brisk than I had anticipated. Saturday felt way down. I haven't talked to the marketing folks at Flex to figure out what the official numbers were, but it felt kind of dead. We're planning on and I'll be headed out to Hamvention next month. We took a straw poll of our alpha members to see if they wanted to have a meeting in one of the hotels there. And probably 75% of our alpha testers said they weren't going this year. So I'm expecting Hamvention to be way down this year, even though they're going to have it. But we'll see. And I'll let you guys know after I get back after the middle of May from Hamvention how that was. We're not planning any major, well, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but as far as I know, we're not planning any major announcements. So that's the only thing you really need to care about is what Flex Radio is doing.
Well, that's a great update, Anna. Thank you for the info on the attendance, especially. I was actually in Florida and I missed one of their, I think, I forget which one. I think it was in March. I just missed it by like a week and a half. I was really, I had poor planning on my part.
CPAC is coming up for people that are comfortable with in-person conventions. It's always the first weekend in June. So that's coming up. And if you want hotel rooms for that and such, now is the time to be seeing if you can snag them. Again, I don't know what's going to happen for attendance on that one. I'm hoping it's going to be up because I'd like to see a whole bunch of you at CPAC, but we'll see how it goes. And yeah, if you want to attend, they're selling tickets.
Cool. All right, let's go around. Any other old business? I know we had a couple of folks join. Scott, Larry, thanks for joining us. Drew, of course, I forgot to say hello to Drew, but hello, Drew. We were amongst the pile of jocularity and other interesting topics when you joined us.
So we did have the elections.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. The elections. Yeah.
You say that with such disdain, Paul.
Oh, that's right. The elections, which is why I'm here. So yes, thank you all for, I don't know what the percentage was and if I had any competition, but thank you. I will try to serve the best I can in this position. I'm always open for feedback. No one person knows everything, but together maybe we can make this just as good or even better.
So I do have the full breakdown of the results if you want to go over them.
Yes,
To the
if you
one-
could, because I don't have them.
To the one person that voted for everybody but me, I will find you. I will find you.
Yeah. So on that note, so the first position up was the chair. We had only Paul running, and he received 22 votes, which was 100% of ballots cast. The second position was the secretary position. One person running, that was Ted, who received 21 votes, 95.5% of the ballots cast. There was one write-in for Anna, which was 4.5%.
It was not me.
I'm assuming Ted's the one that didn't vote for Ted.
Treasurer was Andy was the only one running, and Andy received 22 votes, 100% of the ballots cast. Trustee Mike was the only one running and received all 22 votes. And then the at-large board positions. So this was a pick up to 3, and there were 3 nominees: Bill, Anna, and myself. Bill and myself each received 21 votes, and Anna received 19. There was one write-in for Ted, which does mean that one person didn't vote for one position for, yeah. So some overall statistics, there were 22 ballots cast, 72 eligible voting members, which means that we had a turnout of about 31%. And the election was open from 7:55 p.m. on the 21st of March and was open for ballots to be cast through the 28th. So the election closed at 11:59 p.m. on the 28th of March. So people had just over a week to click on a link in an email and click on ostensibly 7 boxes and click a submit button. So, and of that, we had 22 people who did. So thanks for those who actually voted. And if you didn't see the email next time, check spam, I guess.
That was what I was going to say. That was a good summary, Anthony.
Thank you to all the people that are actually serving and helping keep this running.
Thank you for your confidence in me, except for that one person, and I will find you.
Okay, it's always important to keep it light. Thank you, Anna. Yes. Okay, very good. Thank you for that old business item, Anthony. Any other old business items before we move on to newer business? Okay. So new business, I think, Anna, you mentioned something about CPAC coming up. Is there anything more to mention about that except, if you're planning on attending, you might want to check on hotel rooms pretty soon because they're probably already, many of them are taken, I guess.
Yeah, or RV spaces or what have you. Even I would encourage folks that haven't been, that have any sort of interest whatsoever, to just come up for the day on Saturday. It's actually a pretty good day trip, and you can see a lot of different stuff and grab some seminars on Saturday. It's kind of the busiest day anyway. That's what I used to do when I was first starting out going to CPAC, is just leave early on Saturday morning, get there, in the mid morning and see what I can see, and then leave in late evening. And it still works out that way. It's a lot of fun if you've never been, and it's a good excuse, especially after 2 years of not having it, to catch up with old friends from all around the Northwest and learn some good new things. You miss out because I'm not speaking this year, so it may be a good year not to go, but otherwise there might be some other good presentations from people other than me. But yeah.
So just for us who have just rejoined back into the area, remind us the location. It's in Washington. Yeah, is it in Seattle or is it?
No, it's in Seaside, Oregon.
Seaside. Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's in Seaside, Oregon. My wife likes to go with me because she doesn't really like the convention because she's been harassed by old guys in scooters there before. But she does like going to the beach. So it's a good one that even if your spouse isn't necessarily into ham radio, if they like the beach and hanging out there, Seaside's a good resort town to have your significant other hang out. So
Got it. Nice. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the reminder. It has been that long. In fact, I've never made it. So I came all the way back just to come to CPAC. So I better go. All right.
If you are there, you can more than welcome. I will probably be working the booth at Flex Radio. You can stop by and yell and scream at me.
Okay. Great. Thank you for that that intro, Anna. Any other new business that we'd like to talk about? Don and Betsy, I think this is a good time to maybe remind folks of the cross coordination we have in the area for Aries. You reminded me before the meeting. I think it would be a good time to mention it.
So the Aries monthly meeting will be Thursday, this coming Thursday. We are going to do it in person at the county shop stay room, the same place it's been for as long as I've been around, 7 p.m.
That's for Benton County, not any of us Lynn County Philistines,
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
Right.
You can come
Just
as
a
a
heads
guest.
up.
You're welcome to come as a guest.
You know, my wife was angry at me because it took like 5 years of living in her house to actually change my driver's license and admit that I lived in Lynn County rather than Benton. So, you know, there is that. But
Well, there are some people around here that don't live in the county.
Anthony, for instance,
Say that again, Bill?
Anthony doesn't live in Benton County, but for a Benton County area.
Yep. So, let's see. What else do we know? I'd like to put Scott on the spot here. He gave me a tour of the LC library radio station that's sort of up and coming. I think that would be a good thing to mention here, just to say what's going on there, Scott, and tell people what's happening and what you're trying to do.
Okay. Well, I think a lot of people are at least aware of the fact that we are trying to establish a sort of a satellite. I don't know, Don, what would you call it? A satellite EOC for Benton County out there, and it's coming along. We went ahead and ordered the IC 7300s per recommendations of you guys, which we're very grateful for, because we were going, I mean, not really going back and forth. I mean, they really kind of go, I'm the most experienced person out there, so I can tell them anything, right? But when you guys did send emails to throw in your opinions, I sent those emails to the principal people out there who would be involved to say, look, it's not just me, it's these people too. You have to agree that, we have some expertise around here, and this is what they're saying. So we went ahead and ordered these 7300s because of, the price and so forth. But we will, of course, continue to upgrade as we receive funding. Now, one thing we have that a lot of people do not have is we have this lady named Naomi Shadwick, and she's an incredible grant writer. She has written grants for several, probably up to $10,000 for us. And that's just us. It's for the LC community out there. So she's gotten a lot of emergency supplies. She's very much into prepping. So and she got her ham license in the days when John Stanley was teaching the tech courses. And back in, I think it was 2015, he gave a course out there. And he got, I think, 9 or 10 people licensed at that time. So of those, there's about 3 or 4 that are still sort of active, and they're the ones who are behind this. Naomi's one of those, and so she doesn't do anything with ham radio whatsoever, but she does write the grants. So we get the money, and so that's what's paying for all this stuff. That's what paid for the tower. And I don't know, all of you who are on right now, did you see when I was one of the meetings from the late last year, and I showed pictures, or early this year probably. I showed photographs of the tower being put up. You remember? So I don't think Paul was there. I don't think you saw that, Paul. So you missed that. But I can send you some of the photos. Anyway, the deal was we had ordered the tower went up in December, but we had ordered the antenna that's supposed to go on top of it, a Yagi. It's a MA6B. It's a Cushcraft 4-band Yagi, 20 to 6 meters. And that was ordered a year ago, so we're still waiting. However, I called Cushcraft up last week, and they're promising now that they'll ship in June. So if we get that antenna, then we'll put that up. And the company that put the tower up will come back out with their crane. Their bucket lift, and they'll put it up for us. So that's a nice thing. Now, Paul, we talked when you were there last week. We talked about the hex beam idea. We're still looking into that, to be honest, because when we did do the investigation, the price is really right. It's just a question of what people, if they're going to go for the aesthetic look of a hex beam versus a Yagi. So I don't know, but we're not committed to buy the Yagi. It's on order. We didn't pay for it yet.
Yep.
So fortunately, they're not going to surprise us with a huge price increase. But we can still go with a hex beam, perhaps. There's some advantages. I think the gain of the Yagi is going to be much better, maybe 6 dB, 7 dB, something in that range, versus I think a 3 dBi No, sorry, DVD for a hex beam. So it's about twice as good as a dipole. I think that's correct. I may be wrong, but that's those numbers I think I saw. Anyway, we'll see. So
But on
we're still
on a
big.
on a
Yeah, go ahead.
beam, you not only want to look at the gain, but the front back ratio is really important on a
That's
beam.
true. So what do you say?
I don't know, but I'd have to look at both of them. But with a beam, it could be argued that the front back ratio is more important than the raw gain out the front end,
I
because
think
a
you're right
lot of the
about that.
beam
Yeah,
is throwing your energy in the right direction and being deaf in places that you don't want to hear.
this is true. Yeah. So we have to look at those numbers
And
see.
with anything that's going up on a tower where you need a bucket lift,
Mhm.
you want to look at its robustness and reliability.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly, Paul. Yeah, because Paul had mentioned the the fact that it's a much lighter weight antenna. It will have less wind load. It will have less. If there's any icing up there, we won't have to really be that concerned
Right.
about it.
It
I mean,
won't
the
have
tower.
it won't have traps either. If you've got traps on your Yagi,
Yeah, I
those
know.
are high maintenance items.
Yeah.
Hex beam has the advantage that it's just wire up there.
That's
So
exactly.
I mean, things to consider. I'm not saying one is better than the other, and a
Oh, yeah,
Yagi can be awesome at everything, but there are trade-offs with everything. And,
that's true.
especially in ice and things like that, traps tend to be a big maintenance item.
Right. I don't know if this has got traps on this antenna. I'll have to look at it more carefully, but that would be a major concern. I would be, in agreement with the idea of maybe looking at a
So,
hex.
so Scott, I'm going to invite you to send out a little survey or, just a question to the group. There's many folks that have got years of experience, number one, or have experience using the ones that you're considering, and they can tell you the pros and cons. And like I said, I mean, we're not trying to build a contest station here.
Right.
Scott and I talked about this last week.
Yeah.
We're trying to just build an EOC which has capability to get outside of their affected area. And the tower is a great start because it gets you about 35, 40 feet in the air. And the rest is just something that nobody has to maybe worry about or worry about less, especially if it falls or pieces of it or ice loading, falling on some kid coming out with a pile of books in his hand. I mean, there's things to consider.
We absolutely. And since this project drug on so long, we had a lot of time to talk about all those safety issues and so forth. And we feel that it's going to be good because the tower is very sturdy. It's a self-supporting tower. It was not it's a Rowan tower, but it was not meant for ham radio in the first place. It was really a commercial tower that was used for the police in Philomath, and then they switched over to what the fire department did. And I think many of us remember working on that, when they took down their tower and put up the other smaller tower on top of the roof. Anyway, to make a long story short, yeah. The other thing is, let me just, I don't want to take up too much time, but we also, for power capabilities there, we also purchased some Tesla, I think at least one Tesla wall. We wanted to go with another one. So that's basically a bank of lithium ion batteries that I believe is something like in the order of a couple of thousand amp hours. So, and the other aspect is we've got these nice big grid tie, and I don't think you saw them, Paul. I didn't point them out to you last week, but we got these nice big grid tie solar panels that are sitting there. And I don't remember how many square feet, but it's quite a bit. And the idea is, and those were put in by CPI Power, and they're strictly grid tie, but we can tap into those in case the grid goes down, and then we can shunt all that solar power into charging up batteries and that kind of stuff. So we got all the capability as well. So we got and then Paul saw the nice NBIS antenna for the 80 meter dipole, which basically I can use on a lot of different bands, but it's great for 80 meters stuff and 40 meters as well. So we're looking pretty good, and we got a couple of other verticals out there, but I don't know if those are going to stay up. Anyway, yeah. So that's basically where we stand at this time. So I would predict that by June we'll have a really nice station. I mean, minus the antenna, but at least the interior of the shack will be very nice. It'll be all organized, looking good.
Thanks for the update, Scott. I think it's good.
Thank you.
We haven't
Paul,
talked about it in a while.
Okay.
I'd like to mention that for people that have worthy projects that need money, the ARDC has lots of money. And because of their structure, they have to spend a certain amount of it every year, or the IRS gets a big chunk of it. So they are highly motivated to spend money. For those of you that don't know, the ARDC is the Amateur Radio Development Corporation. They are the ones that own the 44 net for packet radio, and they recently sold about 12% of the IP addresses to Amazon for northwards of $100 million. So they have an $100 million bank account that they are required to spend the interest on that every year. For example, locally, the Eugene Science Factory, that's now the Eugene Science Center, got a grant for $16,000 to put up antennas and buy new radios for the Science Center, to implement their demonstration station there that the kids see. I believe the University of Oregon Amateur Radio Club got $10,000 to start their station because they are a new amateur radio station there.
Oh, wow.
So if you have projects that need money in ham radio that are going to do public service, especially like education for kids or something like that, don't be afraid. I can get you in contact with the right people. They actually have a person that they employ on staff just to help people with writing grants that are successful to do that.
That's great.
So anything that's MCOM is something that's going to be interested in them. Particularly interesting is if you have education projects that are going to educate kids or be involved with kids. They care very much about that because of some of the principles that are involved. Paul, anyway, yeah. Folks, they are really concerned about kids. So yeah, if you need money for projects like that, don't be afraid to ask, and don't be shy either. And don't ask for like $1,000 or $500. I know personally the grants the chair of the grants committee there, and he told me it takes just as long to vet a $1,000 request as it does a $15,000 request. So ask for what you want.
Okay, because we are doing a project with a high school.
Yeah.
Next door to the library there. So I was supposed to actually see one of the teachers today, but he was sick. So we'll see him later in the week. But we're kicking off that kind of a thing. So yeah.
If you haven't applied for a grant from ARDC, do so, because they have money. They want to spend money on this. And if you do apply for the grant, to make sure that you say it's in conjunction with the high school and that you're going to be educating people. It's a part of a public library and things like that. That will get you there. And like I say, another example is they funded the Oregon Hamwam project in Portland that's working on setting up wireless data links between a lot of places in Oregon. They gave them $70,000 to put up gear at different sites. So this is not something where you go and expect a few shekels from the ARRL that doesn't have very much money. Like I say, I don't know the exact number. They haven't announced exactly how much they got, but it is northwards of $100 million that they got. So they've got a lot of money to spend, and they have to spend it, otherwise the IRS gets it. So they want to give it to you.
Well, Naomi will be very happy to hear this. So, okay.
Yeah, I think it's ardc.org is their website.
I actually saw an article about it in one of the ARRL newsletter or e-letters, and I sent that to her, and she got excited. But then she has been doing other things, so I'll remind her again. Yep. We can come up with something.
Well, this is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's about coordination of efforts and knowledge and feeding into supporting the hobby in whatever way we can with either time, talent, or treasure. And Anna just told us about where the treasure might be. So
that's right.
So thank you.
And if you need help, not that I'm all that influential, but I know two people on the grants committee, on the grants committee that evaluate those grants and can put a bug in somebody's ear about it. So,
well, thank you. We'll try to do our best. Thanks, Anna.
So Scott, it sounds like you need to talk to Anna about pricing out a flex setup or two for the library. And
absolutely, I was just going to say,
actually,
we do want to get one.
Actually, the Science Factory had got a Flex Radio 6400 because I sold them and pressured them. One of the things that they're going to do with the Eugene Club that our club might be interested in is it is really easy to remotely operate a Flex Radio. They are going to share the password credentials potentially with members so that they can use the station remotely from their houses, and one, make sure it works, and two, be able to operate it when nobody can be at the station physically. So
that's perfect. Perfect. We would like to put in for that and get a place. Let me just mention that the teacher that I'm working with is actually the shop teacher there at the school. He is a ham. His son is a senior now in high school. He's a ham. I think they both have their general licenses. These guys, I met with his shop teacher this last week. He's really into this stuff. He really wants to get his kids, you know, in the classroom. He said they're all hands on. They want to do this stuff. They're all excited. So, and they would love eventually, you know, they can get their hands on a Flex, I'm sure, you know, and do exactly what you're talking about.
And if they would like, you know, I did this for the Eugene group because I'm an engineer, not a sales lady, but I brought, you know, I have a Pelican case to bring my Flex places. I'm happy to bring it out to your antenna and hook it up and let you see what it looks like and how it works. You will get that pleasure at 7QP, Scott.
Thank
so,
you.
you know,
Thank
I
you.
will bring a rig for
I don't
you.
know how to thank you enough. I'll put you over at the Ritz or something. I mean, really, it's like, wow, yeah, thank you.
All right, great. Again, great collaboration. And if you have a chance, going back to what Dawn and Betsy said, you know, go to one of the Aries meetings, go check it out, see what it's all about. Support the county in their MCOM mission as well. And thank you for the discussion, Scott. I'm glad I put you on the spot.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
Any other upcoming business? Anybody else? Larry, I'm looking at you too. With anything that you're trying to do that you'd like to get started? I know you last time I saw you, you were trying to get some scouts involved in things. And not limited to you, but anybody else who has any upcoming events.
For Lebanon area people, there is a small Lebanon Aries group that's been having a lunch at the Apple Tree every Thursday at noon. So that's always a good thing to go to and meet some local Lebanon area people. They're associated, the ARES associated with the Lebanon Community Hospital. So they all work with volunteers at LCH. They have a weekly net that I don't really attend because I'm not really a nets kind of girl. But I do attend the Apple Tree. They have a monthly meeting on Zoom right now until they can get back in the hospital. The hospital is not letting them have meetings in the hospital. So for people that are, you know, slumming it in Linn County and Lebanon, then there are meetings there for folks that are in ARES.
Who's in charge of the Aries group there?
Merlin Egan, I think his last name
Yeah,
is.
Merlin Egan. Okay.
Merlin.
I used to go to the meetings when they had them on Albany. And I met all those people, and yeah.
There's also a burgeoning mesh network here using the AREDN mesh. So there's a few of us that are putting stuff up there.
Right. That's great. Yeah, we want to, I just want to mention also when we get the antennas up, we want to put a mesh, maybe a sector antenna up on that tower and get that whole area ready for mesh.
Yeah. I'm sure Bill can provide you a lot of sage-like advice about that, and say that the group in Lebanon has a lot of experience with that as well.
Okay, great.
Certainly give you a node.
Who are you talking to?
You, Scott. I can certainly give you a node.
I know you can. I look forward to that. So we should talk about that, Bill. Bill and I see each other a lot over at the Kinetic Bagels downtown. So, you know, we run into each other, so we talk a lot about these things.
Great. Well, this is exactly the kind of discussion I was hoping to have and find. So thank you. This is wonderful. Any other upcoming before we move on to, I think, contests and what I'll like to do. If we don't have any more upcoming topics, we can go to Olin for any contests that he knows of, and then we'll go to the big one, which is Field Day with Bill. So any other new upcoming business?
All right. Can everybody hear me? I hope.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up for those people that would like to hunt certificates, and I'm one of them, is the first of 3 events hosted by W9IMS, which stands for W9 International Motor Speedway out of Indianapolis. And they have a week-long event on their radio station for the Grand Prix, which is on the 8th of May through the 14th. They operate usually on single sideband only. That's the first of 3. The second event is from the 23rd to the 28th, no, the 29th of May, and that is in conjunction with the Indy 500. And then their next event is in, let's see, this year it's coming early. It's in July from the 25th through the 31st, and that's for the Brickyard. So if you go to their QRZ page, it'll detail everything you need to know. You can get a QSL for each of the events. If you make contact with all three of them, you can send them $5 and get a nice certificate. And it is really nice. They really put out for it. Okay, the next thing that's happening, of course, is CPACs. We already not talked about that. In June is 13 colonies. And that's stations with a special call sign, 3-digit call sign, in all of the 13 original states, plus a bonus station in Pennsylvania where Paul just boogied out of. And that's, it goes, I think it's W3 Penn for William Penn.
Yeah, it is.
And then there's also a station, a GB station in England, which King George was the king that lost the colony, so that's why that's there. However, to get a certificate, you need to get all 13 colonies, but you can get a certificate with just one contact, but to get a clean sweep, you won't need to get all 13. I have done that once, and I kind of enjoyed it, and they always have a nice certificate.
And you can always check the cluster, and they report out for you regularly on their locations if you chase them. The other thing too is you may have to go to different modes because not every one of the 13 has both phone and CW.
Okay. And then at the end of May is the CQWPX CW contest. So if you're into getting a little bit of DX, that's a good place to get it. And I'm a slow go, so I'm becoming an expert at how to work into these speed demons that are on there. And it takes a little effort, but you can do it.
You did pretty good, Olin. I remember we worked each other. It came to me and it's like, wait a minute, that's Olin, WA7YXY. He was using CW, and I was amazed.
So those are in addition to Field Day, which Bill's got. That's pretty much it. You just check out the QRZ page for W9IMS if you like that, and then just Google 13 colonies amateur radio event, and you'll find all the details on that. So that's about it for me.
Thank you.
There's also the big one for, the club, 7QP, that we'll be doing the expedition for, that's coming up. You're more than welcome to work us.
Yeah, that's a great one. And what's the call sign? And are they going to use W7PRA?
I'm sure we are. We usually do.
Okay.
So for the club,
it's a county line too, right?
Yeah, you will want to contact us because the rules for a county line station, we will be operating within 500 feet of the Crook and Wheeler county lines, which means we actually count for 2 QSOs for you, one from Crook County and one from Wheeler County. So you get 2 multipliers and 2 QSOs out of us if you contact us.
6 bands. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, you get per bands too. So you contact us on a lot of the bands, you'll get more points.
Good point. All righty, thank you. That's a great wrap up, Olin and Anna. Thank you very much. And I know some of the members here are going to be participating in 7QP, so good luck and be safe. I will not be able to make it this year. I'll be busy unpacking boxes, one of which is my bandpass filter. So
I'd be happy to blow that up for you, Paul.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. Yeah, just so yeah, let's not do that. Not with the amplifier beforehand. Thank you. Okay, why don't we go to Bill? And Bill, try real hard to keep an eye on the screen, because if I do this, that means that the audio is not coming through. I know it's not your fault, but if we can't hear you, then you might as well just, try something different, okay? But Bill's gonna talk about field day.
Okay, so, field day will be in our usual location, at Willamette Park and what used to be the old campsite. Andrew has paid the city, so we're good to go with that. Couple of different rule changes. Continuing the rule changes that they made for the pandemic. In that even if you're not down at the site, you can help aggregate our scores. So like Olin, if he's at home making contacts, when he reports his contacts, he can indicate the club, and his points will, as W7YXY, will be aggregated into the club score. And also, all Class D stations can count QSOs with other Class D stations. So, and then the other big change is that all transmitters are limited to 100 watts. So everybody's going to run barefoot. And that ought to level the playing field for a lot of people. It'll be interesting to see how that changes the numbers that the people are reporting.
Sure, just when I buy an amplifier.
Well, I'm sure you can use it for things like heating your tent. So we're going to be looking for usual people that'll help us out. Olin, you going to be at the field day?
You're on mute, Olin.
Yeah. Okay, I'm planning on that. It just depends on COVID, of course.
Yeah. Would you care to be our safety officer once again?
Yeah, I could do that.
Alrighty. And the other big thing, of course, is the commissary. For those people who will feel comfortable with dining with others. We may modify things from what we've done in the past, because not everybody may be comfortable with that. I'll be bringing the usual pop-up for that, and we'll have the picnic benches. So if anybody wants to cook for the gang, sure to contact me, and we'll see about getting some grub. Any questions?
What other positions are there that you need help with, Bill? And maybe an email. If you haven't, maybe it's a good time to start it out to the larger group that for some folks that can't make the meeting.
Yeah. Really, that was the only big thing that we've done that required, additional help. In the past, I've gotten an extra 100 points for contacting the local people, to see about getting something in the papers. And this year they tightened up the rules. You don't get the points unless the media actually show up.
Okay.
So, I don't know if we're going to be able to get that. I'll give it a try.
All right. Okay. I think if you put a short email out for a call of hands for, hey, we need some help with this or this or this, and remind them of the dates, I think you'll probably get some response.
Yeah, I'll I'll put something on the club reflector.
Yeah, and I'll be there too. I don't know what I'll how I'll participate, but I'll be a helping hand. Any questions for Bill on field day? Yeah, again, forthcoming email with more information. And Bill, not everybody is up on when field day is. So if you can put it out there on the dates, to say, hey, reminder, field day is, these dates, we start setup around this time. For those of you who have never been, please, please feel welcome. We want new people to come and experience this and remind everybody to bring a buddy. It's open to the public, right?
Yeah, I'll be putting that in the email. For those of you who are here at the meeting, the the official setup starts at 11 a.m. on Friday, the 24th of June. The contest starts at 11 a.m. on Saturday and continues until 11 a.m. on Sunday. You can come out, you can start setting up earlier than 11 a.m. Friday, so long as the total setup time does not exceed 24 hours. So I expect to be out there Thursday afternoon, and anybody else can come on out there. That's when I've reserved the park area. So anytime from Thursday afternoon, you come on out and start setting up your tents and stuff. Just don't exceed 24 hours total of setup time.
Excellent.
And I think that's only gear setup, right? You can set up tents whenever you want and anything that's not
correct.
related to amateur radio, but antennas and rigs and stuff.
That's correct. It's just the just the equipment to communicate is limited by the 24-hour setup.
Have we traditionally been doing a GOTA station, Bill?
I haven't got a whole lot of use out of it from passersby. I think the last time we really had a really good somebody step up and want to learn was when we were over at the old Muddy Creek School,
Right.
and Jim was running the GOTA station. He got some YL to get on there, and of course the YL on the single sideband, and everybody wants to communicate. We've had a few people come in and do a GOTA. In the last few years, mostly that's been hams who have not been active for a while, which GOTA is for as well.
Right.
And I've drug an extra transmitter along for that.
I've got a few transmitters, so I'm happy to put one to that cause if that helps out. It does have pretty graphics on it.
Yeah. And power is pretty much, bring your own gens.
Yeah.
Or maybe we could get Scott to bring one of his lithium-ion battery packs.
Just pack up that power, that Tesla.
Put it on a low boy.
Things like this big. Yeah.
Put it on a low boy.
It's heavy,
Hey,
but
it's doable.
it's solid. Yeah.
Power everybody for a week.
Yeah, no. I think that needs some exercise. I think you should write a grant to say that we should
Maybe,
exercise
yeah.
and test that.
Well, I could bring it. I mean, literally,
All right. All right.
And if
Write
it
him
burn-
down, Bill. He's got the power.
You guys only did the generators. We'll be green.
Yeah, we'll be green.
And if it burns up, we can all stay warm at least.
There you go.
All right. Well, again, this is a community effort, and Bill, we want to thank you for taking the helm once again. But lean on the members and ask for help, and don't burn out in the process. Thank you. Okay. Any other comments for field day before we move forward? Okay. So I've got one little thing I thought I would sort of introduce. One is I thought about putting together a survey. I think it's always good to go out to the members, especially those who can't make it to the meetings or maybe don't even know how to connect, right? And just ask, how's everything going? Are you getting out of the club what you want? Do you think we could improve? What do you think you like? What do you enjoy? and just do kind of like a 360 review if you've ever been involved in those. I know Joe has. He's been with HP for a long time, so I'm sure he's familiar with that. And maybe others too, where you just kind of go, review, just look up and down the command chain and, make sure that, we're serving the members. So I'm going to put that together. I'll probably have it out by this time next month to just ask what people think. And sometimes, some good ideas come out of this. I know when we did this back in Pennsylvania, we had some great ideas and they wanted to do more activities. And that's a 360 view, Joe. That's where you actually,
I know, I'm teasing you.
I just, I wanted to hear your voice. I wanted to pretend that you didn't know what it was. So that I
No,
could hear
you
your
just
voice.
didn't want to see me make, which I'm not done, dinner and then consume it. So that's why I'm hiding.
That's fine. I figured if I
Okay.
just played stupid, you'd come up. On
Yeah,
the
all
other
right.
side.
All right, I bit. You got me.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
You have to play stupid, Paul?
No, I do it well. I do. I play it. I play it very well. So anyway, I'm gonna put something together. I'll probably throw it out to the board members just to make sure that I'm asking all the right questions because I've been gone for a little bit, and we'll send it out and hopefully we'll get some feedback. And I'll probably put it on the ham online. I'll ask Anthony for some help with that. Make sure that we get some some good use out of that. Any other new business? Anything upcoming that is of interest that we haven't caught? Oh, go ahead, Betsy. You're on mute though.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for Don to unmute it. I
Okay.
don't have that control. I wish I did. Anyway, 7QP, I understand Mike is not around anymore. Are we going to be getting any more information? I always need a refresher on timing and who all is going and what is our plan. And
I don't think we've come up with a solid plan yet. Mike's just out of town until like the first week of May. So he's going to come back online and we'll hear final sort of stuff. I think it's on the Saturday, the 7th is the contest. It's
I
from,
understand that, and I
Yeah.
know what software we need.
yeah.
Well, we don't know. I mean, every year, that's one of the things we need to be reminded of is which logging program are we going to use and which,
Yeah.
setup details and all that so we can make sure it works ahead of time.
What I was gonna do is go back through all the old documentation that I've maintained from years past. And kind of ready for anybody who asks, but was essentially gonna wait to make sure that Mike did it, so there wouldn't be any differences between what I was going to say and what he was going to say. But yeah, it will definitely be N1MM. That's Mike's favorite logging program. And it doesn't require a server. It's a peer-to-peer. And he will undoubtedly bring the latest version with him in case there's a last minute update, because he loves to do the very latest update. If there's some people up there who weren't able to do that before getting up there on site, I'm sure he's going to have that available on his server like he has in years past. It'll again be a Wi-Fi local area network with access to the internet through his MIMO hotspot.
Have you talked to him about that? Because I think the device he was using might not work anymore. I think he was using an older MoFi, which is 3G.
I haven't talked to him specifically, but I talked to him about networking a little bit and he didn't seem worried about it, but he may not know.
Might want to check with him on that.
I'll
No,
ping him.
insofar as I know, he's using 4G, unless he's upgraded.
4G, okay.
Yeah, I remember seeing a couple years ago the device you were using.
Well, worst comes to worst, I'll have my hotspot up there, and I've got a high gain antenna. Quite the throughput, but it'll at least let us get in and get the latest stuff from the reporting site. I always bring mine along as a backup.
So I don't know about attendance, but I will be there this year. I'm assuming since with the way that Bill's talking, he's going to be there.
And Scott and will be there.
I'll be there.
Don and Betsy,
Anthony.
Drew.
Mike. So we'll have the pretty much the usual gang, maybe some others.
But we're on our own for food, right?
Mike mentioned that there may be one get together meal. He'll be back. He's supposed to be back in town the week before. And that's when he puts out.
We're traveling the week before. We'll be back for like 3 days before we come to QP. So I wanted to do some planning.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to get up there this weekend. I don't know if I'll make it.
Okay.
Fair amount of snow up there still.
Thank you.
Great. Any other?
Well, and anybody that'd like to come that's not in that group, you're more than welcome. I am planning on having an extra operating position for people that'd like to jump in and operate. So I'll have an extra rig. The antennas won't be quite as good on it, but there will be an extra operating position for those that would like to jump in.
Okay. Thank you. That's a great offer.
I'm assuming that Mike will be bringing his tennis ball launcher.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the single points of failure actually at every event is the antenna. The antenna.
Well, it wouldn't be if I remembered to bring the tennis balls to go along with my tennis ball launcher.
Okay.
So
I wasn't going to call you out, Don, but since you mentioned it.
And
I always bring at least one antenna that doesn't have to be strung up in a tree.
Okay. Hey, by the way, I tried to steal the tower trailer that my old club had because I was the custodian, but somebody asked me to hand over the keys, so I couldn't do it. So sorry, guys. I just couldn't swing it.
We don't really need a tower up there. We have one made out of rock.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other topics that we want to cover before we sort of go to Anthony? Was this the bottom of the list as far as agenda items? Because that's all I remember.
Yep.
Okay. We also have good of the order, but I think upcoming events and kind of that thing. But if anybody has anything to do for good of the order, it doesn't have to be radio related. It's sort of like you just want to share something with the team. That's fine. This is a sort of a great time to do that. Okay. I'll share one thing. I'm pretty close to closing on my house. I think within 2 weeks time, I'll be seeing boxes show up at my door. I will be in Lynn County. I will have a high location. It is about 815 feet above sea level. And if you know your elevations, I think the valley floor is about 250 and Lebanon, downtown Lebanon's about 400. So this is quite a bit higher, but it's certainly not, sisters by any means, but still looking forward to it. And
that'll change.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, live in Lebanon in a few years.
Well, I'm really out of Lebanon, so I'm just going to be driving to Corvallis. I don't even have to go through Lebanon unless I want to.
That's
So-
probably a good thing.
So, Paul, are you on any of my bike riding roads out there? If you're at 800 feet, you might be.
Well, you know, I'll be on Fifth Street. It's kind of a dead end. It may not be a bike path for you. But it does climb from the center of town down, you know, from Main Street, kind of go Fifth, and it literally just climbs. It doubles in height in within a mile and a half. So if
Okay.
you're into that,
I'll check it out.
yep. And by the way, Joe, I am back at the HP facility. So if you want to get together for lunch sometime, you know, let me know.
I'm been the last 3 weeks, I've been on site more days than not in a week. So, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm
Well, for
still
one, I can introduce you to the concept of 360. I mean, if you really need a refresher.
let's talk about radio.
All right. Well, listen, I want to thank everybody for coming and sharing their thoughts and opinions, and look forward to, you know, working with all of you again. And part of the survey, just a little spoiler alert, I'd like to see when everybody'd be open to having either a face-to-face meeting or a hybrid or both, and to kind of advance this forward. Just again, spoiler alert, take two. My club in Pittsburgh, what we did is we just said, hey, let's go meet at a park. We rented a pavilion for like $30 or whatever, held the meeting, and it was refreshing. It really was. It was a great start to kind of, you know, once the warmer weather came, we moved and then moved into an indoor facility at a later time. But, you know, obviously with any concerns, you know, if you've got situations where it's not safe for you to do that, then, you know, then please don't. But that'll be on the survey at a minimum. Okay. With that, if any other, unless other comments, speak now or forever hold your peace. We'll go ahead and close the meeting.
So I was gonna say, Paul, I don't know if you were on this, but when Mike said he was going to be here this month, I said because you know normally he would give a presentation around now, and I was going to do it, but I thought it might even be more profitable to speak about 7QP, so I let it go. So if anybody was expecting a presentation tonight, I apologize. Maybe I'll do it in June or something. You know.
No apologies. It's a lot of work.
Yes, yeah, no, yeah, I had a lot of ideas. I just didn't know what would be the most interest. So I thought, you know what, since 7QP is really coming up quickly, maybe we should just focus on that, you know. So anyway, I just wanted.
Yes, and I apologize. I should have asked to see if there was a scheduled program tonight. I didn't do that.
No, we didn't have anything really.
Oh, okay, good.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, listen, thanks everybody. We'll call it a short evening, and you know, again, reach out to me if you have any questions. Yeah, thanks for participating.
Well, thank you, Paul. Nice to have you back on this time zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great to be
Hey,
here.
hey, Paul, can you stay on for a sec?
I can. And Anthony, can you do the same?
Sure. Yep.
Take care, everyone.
Okay, have a
Okay,
good night.
see you, Anna.
Good night, all.
Good
Okay.
advice, by the way. Bye, Ted.
Bye, everyone.